The ninth spirit of the Goetia is Payman. Now, Payman is quite a well-known spirit, particularly in the last few years since the 2018 film Hereditary came out, and that kind of brought Payman into the sort of consciousness of the masses, so to speak. But he has appeared in other forms. Interestingly, the 1985 film Ghoulies, the sort of comedy, schlocky horror that was kind of a rip-off of Gremlins. Payman is in that film. 2010, The Last Exorcism, Payman is named as one of the demons in that film. And The Last Shift from 2014, which is kind of an underrated, unseen, not gem, but it's definitely worth watching. Payman is in that film as well. Now, just on Hereditary, because I've spoken to quite a few people from the occult world about Hereditary, and the consensus, strangely, is it's garbage. I think it's one of the best horror films in the last 10 years. I think the performances are incredible. Toni Collette is just like, it's absolutely insane, her performance in that film. I think it's Ari Aster's best film, the director. I think it is full of interesting symbolism and themes and concepts. But is it accurate of Payman? No. It isn't accurate, really, of any spirit. There are aspects that I think lead me to believe that Ari Aster and probably his production team did some study of Payman and the occult in general. Particularly at the end, the music that is ringing out as Payman is sort of first seen in the film is very accurate of his entrance. When you quite often when you work with him, you will have loud music and trumpets will come through very strangely. That is quite accurate. But in terms of the aggression, the torture of the family, giving away spoilers if you haven't seen it, but you should have already seen it in my opinion, is not accurate. That's not really what any spirit would do, but it's a horror film. Interestingly as well, the sigil for Payman is altered slightly, specifically with the film. And I read somewhere that Ari Aster was concerned of not pissing. He doesn't particularly believe in these spirits, but he didn't really want to take the risk and piss off or have any confrontation with Payman. So the sigil and some other bits and pieces are specifically changed just for the film. So let's go through the correspondence for Payman. So the dates are June 11th to 20th, 21st. North or northwest. I generally work northerly with Payman. Tarot is the Ten of Swords. Element is water. Colour is yellow. Planetary alignment is the sun. If you were going to use herbs or plants with him, bindweed is the most popular. Incense is frankincense. Gemini is the correspondence in that aspect. Metal would be gold. And the N for Payman is Linan, Tassa, Jedan, Payman. Now, in terms of offerings, I've heard a lot of variations on what works for people. For me, and it's been very sort of clear working with Payman throughout, sort of going back a few years. I was giving sort of quite elaborate offerings things like veal steaks and honey and all this stuff. Red wine, from sort of very clearly told to me, red wine, you don't need to do anything more than that. But obviously, and I say this in many videos, the biggest offering that you can give is the commitment, the energy, the sort of commitment to the outcome that you're wanting. So if you're working with Payman, I know I say Payman, it's Payman. I switch between the two myself. But if you're working with Payman for, say, success in the arts, you're an artist of some description and you want more eyes put upon you, you want to be more successful in this field, then the biggest offering that you can give is to get the work done, put the effort into the arts, network, particularly in modern times, social media, push your work, bring it out to the world. And from my experience, Payman will help that happen, but you have to put the commitment in as well. So what is the experience of working with Payman like? Well, I have personally been told myself, and I've heard it many times, he's a great beginner spirit. He's very easy to work with and gets things done and is straightforward. Now, that is not my experience. I found him very challenging at times, has pushed me, has corrected me for my uncouthness at times. I wouldn't say kicked my arse, but has, and I see it as a positive, but has been very challenging for me to work with. That could be just because of my personality. Maybe I'm a challenging person, I don't know. But most people, a vast majority of people, would say that he is great for beginners. He's very approachable, which is true, and is just generally quite straightforward. Again, you have to do the work. He isn't going to make you successful. And there's also limitations as well, and this is where I've found Payman to be really direct but good. Not everyone has talent in certain areas. Some people want to be a famous singer. They can't sing. So, there are limitations. We all have limitations. I'm never going to be many things that maybe I would like to be. But I'm pretty comfortable in what I am good at. So that's where Payman can sort of, give you a bit of a reality check and also guide you in the right areas to go. One interesting aspect that I've certainly experienced is the title, King Payman. When you are addressing him, when you are working with him, when you've invoked him, use the title. He seems to be, I think, pretty much the only spirit that I've worked with that is really, my title is King Payman, and that is what you will call me. And sort of, no kind of messing about. You come correct, you come with your manners. And it's a working relationship, but you do have to have that respect, particularly at first. So another interesting aspect of working with Payman is he is very often accompanied by two spirits, left and right of him, Babal and Abalam, and they are both considered kings within the divine pantheon as well. How he appears, for me, pretty bang on the nose of the Goetia description and the very popular descriptions. He is a very handsome Middle Eastern man, very piercing eyes, long black hair, rides a camel, and wears a crown. Now, much to my sort of, I would say, bemusements the first few times I worked with him. Actually, I think it's quite nice as well. The camel that he's riding, which I've never had named, even though I have asked, also wears a crown. So Payman's camel gets to wear a crown as well, which is good. So I've often heard it described as Payman rules over charisma, honour and art, and I think that is a very good way of describing his abilities. Not limited to that, but they're kind of sort of the focal points. Energy, yes, aggressive, forthright, very direct. It seems to soften over time. The more that you work with him, the more it seems to soften. And he can also really help with things like social skills. So if you are lacking in certain departments, if you are lacking in the ability to communicate, or you are maybe a bit, like I describe myself, uncouth at times, if you are, then he can really help with that. He can help you grow those skills, grow that charisma. Often I've had it described directly, and I've heard it from other people, of he can assist and help guide people into becoming leaders, charismatic leaders. And that feels very, very correct with working with Payman. So that is Payman, King Payman. One of the most interesting spirits to work with, and I'm sort of limiting how much I share on why I think you should work with him, or my experiences, just because I think that if you're watching this, you're probably interested in Payman, and you should maybe just take that jump and go work with him. So thank you for watching. If you do work with him or have worked with him, I'd like to hear your experiences too, but thank you for watching.